Talks. I'm Susan Marco, and Trance Talks is basically my way of having conversations with practitioners across many alternative modalities and disciplines. Over the years, I have gathered so many wonderful healers and people into my life. And I always love to share what I learn and how I grow from all the magical and wonderful people that I have had, the opportunity to be with. And one of those people is this very special lady who, on Zoom, she's sitting right next to me. Uh, yeah, I'd really like to introduce you to Abby Boxman, LCSW, uh, grief counselor. I mean, Abby is, for me, one of the most special people in that she has taken her own journey through possibly one of the worst things that could happen to a person and turn that around in a way to be in service to other people. And so, without getting into too much detail about it, like, I don't want to tell you about Abby. Let Abby tell you about herself. So, Abby, please introduce yourself and tell our listeners, who are you and how did you get to be where you are?
So thank you, Susan, for that wonderful introduction. And just a little history that, we just started doing this. And, I started off by telling Susan how much I love her and I appreciate her for who she is and, how she's helped me grow through this experience as well.
Mm.
Susan and I met, it's probably close to 10 years ago now at this wonderful conference. And I saw her across the room. It was like literally love at first sight. And we just had this connection. We
It's
just
true.
had this connection, her beautiful smile and her positive energy. And we just kind of clicked. And from there on, we found that, we're a lot, we both do a lot of advocating throughout the community and we just kept finding each other. Oh, there we were. There we were. And for many years, early on, I began this new journey in my, let's say, my new life. After July 13th, 2011, I lost my middle son, Justin, to an accidental overdose. And, um, that experience really, changed the whole trajectory of my life. When that first began, of course, I had nowhere, I didn't know what to do. I was shocked, I was stunned, I was, going through feelings and emotions that I can't even put into words. Um, and but I still, I have three boys, and I still my other two sons, Danny and Andrew, and my husband, and we're still here. And what could I do? So I share this story because it was pretty funny. My husband had taken me to work. My husband is John, and I went out. We was working out in Long Island at the time, and we lived in Monmouth County. And if anybody knows Long Island, it's the Belt Parkway, and it's traffic, and it's the most annoying ride ever. So it was early on. Yeah, exactly. So um, I went to work with him and, just to keep myself busy, distracted, trying to do because I wasn't working at the time. I, had left my job and, I was on disability and the job that I was working with, they were wonderful. They really, supported me. And of course, I never returned. And I was coming back from Long Island and here I am in the Belt Parkway and I'm laying there and I'm just, falling asleep. And I get up, I look, and I see this bus next to me, and it says, "Earn your degree at, join the community at Rutgers." And I looked at that, I looked at him, and I said, "I'm going back to school." And he was like, "What?" And for some reason, I don't know what it was, but I just got it in me. And at that time, I hadn't gotten my degree. I just had gotten, I had enough to have an associate's, but I really didn't have a degree. So I went back to Brookdale. Brookdale offered this wonderful opportunity that I went back to school and I majored in social work as a pre-social work, and then I went into Rutgers for their bachelor program. So I got my BSW, and then I did the advanced standing for the master's program, and I completed my master's in a year, which led me to become an LCSW. And during this time, I did so much. I began, and I'm going to back up just a little bit. After Justin did die, I started a bereavement group for those who have lost loved ones to addiction, to substance use disorder. So back then, about, you know, 13, 14 years ago, addiction was not, I mean, it was as prevalent, yes, but, the stigma is reducing just a little bit from now to then, not much. But during that time, here I was looking for ways to connect with others. I was like, I was alone. I was alone in a world that I didn't know how to get around. And I found this wonderful group, and I began my own location in Monmouth County. And throughout the 10 years of running that group, I must have had, literally over 1,000 people come through those doors that I was able to sit with and help. And early on, that really helped really catapult me into where I wanted to go with my life, and really realize what I needed to do and how I could heal through helping others. And it became a mission for me, and doing that, starting the group and advocating throughout the state, on legislative issues and so on, really allowed me to meet so many wonderful, wonderful people, mothers, fathers, just I can't tell you, so many people, famous people, not too famous people, but and especially those who have lost, those who have lost their children, which is something that's very, very special to me. I don't want to say special, but we hold that bond of that club that nobody wants to be a part of. And over the last year, I lived in Monmouth County for over 20 years. Life shifted, did a 180 in literally 365 days. And we moved from Monmouth County. I live up in Bergen County right now in the Pascack Valley, because we became grandparents, my husband and I, and we needed to be near, the grandbaby. And then the one in Florida, my youngest son lives in Florida, and then he said, "Oh, we're having a baby too," but we couldn't move to Florida yet. But anyway, but it really just gave me a different perspective on life. And being up here, I opened up my own private practice last summer, and I work, and I love being with people. I love helping people. I love being able to witness what people are going through and being able to support them in their journey, especially with grief. I do a lot of different kind of work, but grief is my specialty, and
Yeah.
very near and dear to my heart.
So I imagine that, well, first of all, I just want to say, I really want to point out how you took a very adverse situation and turned it around into service. And I'm curious because I can relate to that in my own practice. I'm curious, um, how big a part of your healing is that?
Each and every day, really, when you lose a child, especially, and I'm never, ever, ever minimizing, loss at all. Because we all, have lost, and we've all lost people that are significant and profound in our lives. But when you lose a child, it's you know, there's just a different love, because it's your child. It's, it's many different losses as we go, the expectations and the life of what they were, and what they weren't able to give in this lifetime. And parents are not supposed to outlive their children. It's just not the normal course of life.
Sure.
But being able to honor them, and for me to honor Justin, I feel that my journey now is to help those, and especially to help parents, because this is, you've lost so much, and life becomes before and after. for us. And I'm going to use us as general for bereaved parents. There's this loss, but it's yes, it ends your world, and yes, there's a hole in your heart that's never going to be, it's never going to be filled. And yes, you're going to cry probably for the rest of your life, just not as much as you did at first. And yes, life is going to change significantly. And yes, life is going to be different. But life doesn't necessarily need to end.
Mhm.
It didn't need to end for me. I didn't want it to end for me. I wanted to be able to, honor my son and say, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what I'm going to do for my family. This is what I want to do for others. I want to be able to, like I said, stand by them, support them, and to know that this is going to be the hardest thing to do. And I'm going to help pick you up off the floor, and I'm going to walk beside you on your journey, so you know that this pain is the most profound pain that you're ever going to go through. But one day to the next, and not even day, I'm going to say 1 second to the next minute, to the next hour, to the next day. And that's really what this has become. And when you go through that, you don't think anything is ever going to be okay again. And it's not, but it is, if you allow it. And that's what it is. You have to allow yourself. And I allowed myself to do this because I said, I don't want to, if I isolate myself, I feel that I'm not doing justice for Justin. I'm not honoring him. And, my life work is to keep his memory alive. And I think it's very important because my other boys are alive as well.
Yeah,
So, my job is to keep Justin alive as well. And I will continue to do that. And I want other families and other people that have lost their children to be able to realize that as well.
it's true what they say, when we lose someone close to us, there's that loss, but at the same time, we're still here. So, finding ways to move forward is that's we're here. That's
Right.
what we're here for, right? I had another thing came to mind as you were talking. Um, how does working with others affect your own process, or does your process interfere in any way? I can see where there's that end of it being helpful because of your understanding, but is there any way that it's detrimental or
So, as a social worker and as a clinician, it's unethical that, you share your personal story. And, people are, they're very, oh, you can't share your own personal stuff because it can interfere with the therapeutic process with your clients. And I do everything in my, I abide by that. However, I do share, and people know that I've lost my child. And I feel in this process, it helps others, especially because, and I'm not minimizing any other clinicians that are out there and those who have done all that work. However, when you lose a child, I mean, I can sit with somebody else and I can fully understand that pain, and like I said, walk that journey really completely understanding. And there's something that healing creates for me and for those clients. And my clients have said to me, I'm so glad that you've shared that you've lost your child, because I really didn't know if you'd really get what I'm going through. And hearing that is like, okay. And I don't get into, I don't bring my stuff in. That's not, when I'm sitting with my clients, it's all about them. But for me to know that, my clients are walking away, and that they are still grieving each and every day like they will for the rest of their lives, but just giving them a little bit of love, and some of my techniques and my tools that I can offer really allows them to find this sense of, just that little bit of moment of peace. And life, that's what life is, finding some peace, but acknowledging that it's still always going to be bittersweet.
yeah.
So offering that, and offering that intention to my clients.
I love that. And one of my questions for you, you've answered is, kind of what makes you unique? What is your unique sort of special sauce? right? And I feel that deep into my heart that, again, that you have been able to take your journey and your process and create a body of work to help other people to go through the same or similar.
Mhm.
It just is so incredible, Abby. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, Susan, it's not, it's, it's, it's hard work. It is because, the reason that they're here, the reason why, and I'm going to specifically talk about my clients that I do grief with. Grief is, it's not easy work, because people are devastated through grief. And I try to normalize it because, in life, we're born, we live, and we do die. Unfortunately, there are those that die before they should, especially those that are young, and especially those that are ill, and those that death is devastating, is what it is.
Yeah.
However, if we can, I really believe that in our society that we don't grief isn't, it's not acknowledged and recognized the way that it should be, where it is part of life. And, I mean, even in work situations, Susan, I mean, you see that, a lot of these companies, they put a determination on who died for how much time you get off. Oh, it was your dad. Well, you get this much. Oh, it was your son. All right, well, we'll give you like a week or two. Oh, it was your best friend of 40 years. No, we can't pay you for the day. You just have to take a sick day. Like, seriously, like, it doesn't, like, and it makes me insane, that we look at grief like it takes time. Grief is forever, and that's the way that it is.
Yeah.
We what I like to do with my clients is normalize that it's not, it is forever. However, we can find ways for you to just take each step into each new day, and it's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay. It doesn't feel like it's going to be okay, especially early on, but that it will be okay. And, it's creating some kind of hope through this healing process, because it does take time. And there's things people say, oh, is this pain ever going to go away? And I say, it's going to go away. It's going to be different. You're not going to cry every single day. I lost Justin. It's going to be 13 years this year. And do I cry every day? No, I don't cry every day. But when something happens and I hear a song on the radio or something pops into my head, I mean, I lose it just like everybody else. And I want my clients to know that. Yeah, I had a really bad day yesterday and I didn't want to get out of bed.
Mm.
And it's okay to do that. So again, like normalizing it, because our society doesn't allow us to grieve the way that we should grieve. So if I can just bring a little bit of a different perspective, especially for parents, then that's my job.
Well, it's beautiful, beautiful work that you do, Abby. And I honor you, and I believe that my listeners will also resonate with a lot of what you've shared here today. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to have this conversation. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Life is a beautiful ride, but there's a lot of bumps in the roads. And sometimes we fall off of the bike. Sometimes we bang our heads. Sometimes we scratch our knees. And sometimes we can just smooth sail on the trail. But if we can just embrace what happens to us and be able to just shift our thinking just a little bit, it's okay to do that. And
Mm.
it's okay to do that because we are humans and we are filled with love. And love is that energy that will stay with us forever. And the connection that we have with our loved ones is forever. And in honor of, my son, my family, all those that have passed on, and all the angels that are out there, um, I hope that I can do work from there here to all those that don't think that they can make it through the day. So it's my life's mission.
Beautiful. So a couple of questions. Are you working in person and virtually?
I do, yep, I do. So since I live up in Bergen County, I do have an office located in Oradell, New Jersey, and I do see clients. I have current openings as well, and I do see clients virtually, and I do a lot of, along with, like I said, my grief work is my specialty, but I do other work as well. I do psychotherapy in all realms, and I offer EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization, reprocessing, and sand play therapy. So if anybody's interested to learn more about me, you can go onto my website, abbyboxmanlcsw.com, learn a little bit about me, and reach out if you have any questions. I'm around, and I would be more than willing to help you in your journey in any capacity that I can.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Abby. And all of that you'll find in the show notes as well. Um, so until our next episode, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you again, Abby, for your grace and your beautiful soul and what you're doing in the world. I love you.
I love you. Mwah.
All
Thank you.
right. See
Thank you.
everybody soon.
Take care.
Take care.